This video is part of a course on domain-driven design and microservices. In this lesson, I'm sharing my thoughts on how to put together a business case for adoption of microservices architecture in an organization. Adopting and building microservices. In this lesson, I'll discuss what an organization needs in order to adopt microservices architecture. I'll share my thoughts on how a technologist can put together a business case for gaining support for the adoption of microservices in their organization. And then I'll introduce you to two new terms, Brownfield and Greenfield microservices projects. Adoption of microservices architecture requires an organization to acquire resources with new technology skills. They need to invest in technologies such as cloud, containers, and a number of tools for building and operating microservices. Organizations need to change their processes. For example, they need to build their DevOps practices. Older ways of managing IT resources and applications does not work for microservices applications. And the next one is the toughest to handle. An organization may need to change its culture. For example, faster decision making. And this cannot happen overnight. Successful adoption of microservices architecture requires commitment from the business and the IT leaders. The role of an architect is to guide and educate the business and IT teams in terms of cost and benefit of adoption of microservices architecture. It is important for the architect to not just talk about the technical benefits of microservices, but spend time in building a business case for microservices adoption for their specific organization. The idea is that it'll be easier for the architect to get the support from the IT and business leaders if there are business benefits of adopting microservices. Let's delve a little bit deeper into how a business case can be created for adoption of microservices architecture. To build a business case, one has to think of the business impact and not the technology. So as an architect, think about the specific business for your organization. Is it going to improve the customer experience at a rapid pace? Is it going to lower the cost of IT operations? Maybe it is going to generate new revenue streams. Maybe it will give your organization a competitive advantage. Now, the specific business advantage will depend on your organization's business. So you as an architect must understand your organization's business to be able to map the benefits of microservices architecture to your organization. Let me give you an example of technical versus business benefit. An architect focused on the technology side of microservices would describe the benefit like this. With microservices architecture, we can release our software every 6 weeks rather than every 3 months like we do today. An architect thinking about the business benefit may describe the benefit like this. IT can help business cut down the product development process to 6 weeks, which is roughly 50% faster than our competitor. Read these two statements and think about which one would appeal more to the business stakeholders. Obviously, it is the second one. Here is another example. A technology-focused architect may say, our monolith applications are difficult to change, hence, adopting new technologies has been slow. We need to invest in microservices architecture technologies to be able to move faster. And a business-focused architect may say something like this. Adoption of new digital technologies can help the business achieve the goal of increasing the lifetime value of our customer, as microservices architecture provides a foundation for faster adoption of these new digital technologies. Again, the idea is to resonate with the business and the IT leaders by projecting the business benefits of microservices rather than just describing the technical benefits of microservices. An important point to keep in mind here is that I'm not suggesting that you create a 50 pages long formal business case document. 5 to 7 slides are fine too, as long as you are able to convey the right message to your IT and business stakeholders. Here is how I like to do the business case for microservices architecture. The first thing I like to see in my business case is a clear messaging around the business value. If possible, you need to quantify. You need to use the right numbers to be able to create an impactful statement from business value perspective. Put together a roadmap on how you expect the organization to adopt microservices. Important to indicate the time to value. Would it take you 3 months to deliver value, or would it take you 18 months to get there? It is important for you to convey it clearly to set the right expectations. And then describe what you need to be successful. You're looking to get commitment from your IT and business leadership. They can't commit to you unless they understand what they are getting into. And depending on where you are in your microservices architecture journey, do a POC. Demonstrating the value with something live is always helpful. Now, this is just an example of how you can do a business case. But be creative, think about what works for your organization, and then put together your business case, because that'll have a higher chance of success than using a generic format that I have provided to you. There are two types of microservices projects. The brownfield microservices project is the one in which there is an existing monolithic application that need to be converted to microservices. And then there are greenfield microservices projects wherein a new application need to be built ground up. A brownfield project team has to deal with legacy technologies and IT debt. There are two options available to the brownfield project teams. The first option is to refactor the application, that is, convert monolithic application to microservices. This conversion process can be carried out by way of a big bang approach, wherein all of the microservices are built in parallel. Or the project team can take an incremental or evolutionary approach where they build the microservices by peeling off parts of the existing monolith application. The other option is to completely rebuild the brownfield application from ground up. The greenfield project team has two options for building their application. The first one is they can build their application as a microservice application from the get-go. A couple of considerations that the greenfield project team needs to keep in mind. First one is they need to ensure that there are tools and technologies available to them for building these microservices. And the organization readiness also plays an important role. For example, does the organization have mature DevOps practices and processes? This option is suggested for teams that are experienced with microservices and are working for organizations that have already adopted microservices. The second option is to use the monolith-first approach. The monolith-first approach suggests that the greenfield application team create a well-designed monolith application, gain some experience with the application, and then peel off parts of the monolith application to create appropriate microservices. You can read more about this approach at this link. Time to go over the key points from this lesson. As an IT architect working on microservices applications, you must think about the specific business benefit of microservices to your organization. There are two types of microservices projects. In a brownfield microservices project, an existing monolith application needs to be converted to microservices. There are two options for these kind of projects. First one is to refactor the existing monolith application to microservices application. And the second one is to retire the brownfield application and create a microservices application from ground up. The second type of microservices project is the greenfield project, in which the project team does not have any kind of legacy debt to deal with. There are two options for the greenfield projects. Greenfield projects may be implemented with microservices architecture from ground up, or the greenfield project team may take the monolith first approach, wherein they first create a monolith application and then convert it to microservices.